Hello, hi, hey. God, I gotta learn how to do that better. I gotta stop. I've been doing podcasts for over a decade. Never started a podcast correctly, but I'm so excited to be here. Welcome everybody to another glorious episode of Jeff Has Cool Friends. I'm Jeff from Jeff Has Cool Friends, and with me, I have literal cool friends. That's the cool friends part of this. I'm here joined by two of my favorite people, two former guests of the show. So this is actually a very unique scenario I have here because not only do I have two returning guests working together, which I absolutely love, this is also the first time I've ever had technically two people as guests. I've had it one time before, but that was actually just a podcast that I got to publish for someone. So this is actually technically the first ever unique two guest episode.
You got yourself a twofer.
I got a twofer here.
Moving forward, it has to be Jeff Has Cool Friends, but the S is in parentheses because it's singular or plural.
Yeah.
Because now that we've established the plural.
Well, the title is based on the entire catalog, Dave.
You know what? Now it's episodic.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we do Jeff Has Cool Friends with then a two, like a little two up at the top?
Ooh.
You know, a little friend
In
square.
Amsterdam? Is that what it's called? In Amsterdam?
I think you're thinking of ampersand, and that is a totally different thing. I believe it's a subscript two, I believe is what we'd call it, or an exponent,
Yes,
if you will.
Square.
Exponential.
It is
Logarithmic.
I have an exponential amount of guests. You've heard these two tender, beautifully long-haired, bearded men here.
I hope they can hear the long hair and the beard.
I'm
through
sure
The
they
rustling.
can.
These are great microphones. I'm here with the incredible David Igo and Erik Barnes. Gentlemen, welcome to my living room / Patreon / Spotify / Apple / wherever people are listening to this show. Welcome back.
I feel thoroughly welcomed. I enjoy the plants. It's
We
nice.
have plant. You didn't. I don't look like a plant guy, do I?
No.
You know why? Because I'm not a plant guy.
Well.
My roommate is a plant lady, though. She loves the plant.
She is a lovely plant.
We have a lovely, lush Jurassic Park-esque living room here.
Honestly, get some dino toys and just put them in the pots, and it would look create scenes with them. That's what I would do.
Get some dino toys. I'd rather have a couple of clever girls in here. Oh,
Hey,
hey.
I like it. And I like the lies about this being in your living room because actually we're on the high-rise 20th floor in Sherman Oaks overlooking the city.
We
'Cause
are.
If you have a fancy office from
This is my fancy office. I
all
certainly,
the podcast money that comes in.
certainly, that's
much.
the amount of money I make off this podcast is enough to get me a penthouse office.
Yeah.
Don't
Don't
you get hot with all of the just fully windowed walls everywhere? Just the sun.
Well, I can
searing
afford
in?
central air.
18-foot floor-to-ceiling windows, man. It's crazy.
You know what? The marble statues absorb the heat.
Oh,
And they
okay.
actually, it's sort of like a tree, but
They
it's
have the
really great.
coolant bars with inside
Yeah,
them.
Jeff
Those
has
are the-
coolant. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I like this.
So
The marble statue of you as the thinker it's quite a nice touch for this place.
it's really, really great. I'm a little bit upset they wouldn't let me put a toilet in it,
Mm.
but that was really just because the artist said something about an artistic integrity, and that's funny. What I love is I love making connections. Dave, you do too. I know that for a fact because we've had this conversation. Erik, you do too because you're a person. I love
He's
making.
a real person.
He's a human. You're a human.
I am a real boy.
You're a
Yes,
human being with
yes.
with the soul,
Yeah.
potentially, possibly.
yes.
Well, he is ginger natured, so the
Oh,
soul
wow.
is like
Wow.
All right.
I would like
maybe
Oh,
not
so
there.
the Jeff Has Cool Friends Network would like to apologize to all of our ginger listeners.
First of all, that's our word. You can't use that word.
But so the three of us, the first time we were ever in the same room was at David Igo. You were at the Mike Mignola 25th anniversary of Hellboy art show, and you had a piece in there
yeah.
with Kelly.
Yeah.
Worked on that. Your
Yeah.
lovely bride.
Yeah.
now
Wife. Yeah.
Yeah, your wife. Get it?
Then
That's
I know
from
I
Borat.
try not to be that person sometimes because a lot of people are like, oh, he's gonna say it, and I'm like, I want to surprise them and not say it.
So the best part about it, I think, now is to bring back dead impressions. Like if you bring an Austin Powers impression into a conversation with me right now, you have my utmost respect.
Yeah. There
And
you
so,
go.
like, I think Borat, we're ready.
yeah.
We're ready to really, like, very nice. Like somebody doing that now.
Like
Chef's
how
kiss.
Jinko's made a comeback. You know, now it's Borat quoting is gonna make a comeback.
This is the most egregious fashion period for me of knowing exactly as an adult when something became popular and then became made fun of and is now popular again. That made me say, fuck this.
It's not popular
out.
for an ironic reason. It's popular because people are like, I want to wear
Baggy
those
jeans are big
things.
now.
Yeah.
Baggy jeans.
Literally.
They're big. They've always been big.
I mean, yeah.
But it's so funny. So, Dave, you had a piece in this 25th anniversary Mike Mignola art show. I called my good friend Eric Barnes, who went with me to PowerCon, and I said, "Hey, man, I'm going to go to a Hellboy art show. That seems like a thing that you would want to come to." And he's like, "You know what's the most correct thing?"
Yeah.
Is the sentence you just said.
I literally got home from driving around and I had an incredibly rough day. And then it was dark and I was about to lie down and just be depressed. And that's when you called. And I'm like, yeah, I need to get out. I need to do this immediately.
I was literally just having a conversation with a friend of mine about how I don't do things anymore because I always worry about all the work I have to do. And then I was like, sometimes I got to realize that the work is always going to be mounting up. So maybe I should do some more things.
Chasing the dragon. It's never going to be over. You're
that-
always chasing the dragon.
You know what? You know what would be nice is to be a dentist. Dentists, I think they really did it right because they're like, I know my job is kind of gross and also boring. I have so much f***ing money and so much extra time.
Oh, that's why they go across to Africa to shoot lions and all that
True.
type of stuff.
That's also why, because I remember when I worked at Sideshow, we would do these on live. We'd be like, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring our collector of the week. It was always a dentist who had a palace in Minneapolis, where they would just and here's $800,000 worth of plastic polystone and whatever.
Yeah.
And I would just sit there and I'd be like, what the f*** do you people do?
Yeah.
This is what I do.
Yeah.
I have Iron Man Mark 1, 2, 3 through 17.
Or Hot Toys collectors, and there's here's $80,000 worth of Hot Toys. And I'm like,
and they practice their dental skills on those statues.
or people.
Or people.
Or
people.
secret people.
Well, wait, secret people?
That's the other part of the basement. They don't show you in the pictures.
Jeez.
That would be so funny. They show you the pictures and then there's just one door with low light coming out from underneath. I'd be like, hey, what's behind that door?
Nothing. Slam.
Tom.
Throw the rug over
You see,
it.
when you said secret people, I thought you meant space aliens that are trying to pass off as human beings.
I got to tell you, you
Maybe
better,
it's
if
that
you're going to
too.
become a dentist in the long run, you better start working on dental divergent people. Right?
Yes.
I think we just call those British
Well,
people, right?
yeah.
I am birthed from royalty because my dad is an oral surgeon. Not to be confused with dentists, but oral surgeons are the ones that rip out your wisdom teeth.
Hell yeah.
And so my dad did a lot of that. And he has a lot of dentist friends. So I can agree that all of them are hunters and kill big game
They all,
animals.
because you know why? They got all this free time and
Yeah.
all this bonus money.
What am I going to do? Go to Africa and murder some stuff. Just kidding. My dad fishes. So that's his.
In Africa.
In Canada, which is like Africa, just north.
Does he go to Canada or does he live in Canada?
He
Wait, is that-
travels there.
that's
He
the most-
travels to Canada from America, which when you think about it, it's like, oh, they're neighbors. It's not that far. You just walk across the border, but it's a 27-hour drive.
These are two of the largest countries in the world. Yes.
Yeah. When you look at the map, you forget how it funnels. Canada's twice as wide as America. America's twice as wide as South America.
Yeah,
weird.
it's because of fast food.
It's a giant.
The world
funnel.
is very top heavy.
Yeah. We're North America's got them rocking.
Mm-hmm.
It's just these big, luscious, dumb, the tits of America, which is what I used to do.
Is that
Do you ever-
Florida? Is Florida the?
Florida
I
is
thought it was the.
everybody the internet says it's the diseased wang of America, which is I don't know.
The skin tag. Let's call it a skin
a
tag.
skin
Like
tag.
an
It
overgrown
kinda is.
skin tag.
It is.
Skin
I can
tag.
say that. My parents lived
I would
there,
think of that as I would think of Rhode Island as a skin tag.
It's a smaller skin tag.
Yeah, well, that's what I think of when I think of a
Any
skin
state
tag.
has its skin tags if you really think about
Rhode Island was also a huge ass when the country started.
We should
they-
make shirts that
it.
just
Like
say
collectively?
Yes. As a matter of fact, they were
They all gathered together like, we're going to be a dick right now. All of us.
Quite literally yes. They were the last to ratify all the time to the point where they got their nickname Rogue Island. And it's you're too small to matter, Rhode Island.
I choose to believe they were just lazy.
We should make shirts that say Rogue Island, the skin tag of America, and just wear them, and people would want them. I think.
I don't want that. I don't want that conversation.
I think it would be a great conversation starter.
If I sell
would it have would it have the state of Rhode Island on it, or do people have to ask what is Rogue Island?
I think I could figure it out.
It could be the glow in the dark outline that you don't see until the
it's
lights
dark.
turn off.
This is a busy shirt, and I got to be honest. Now I'm in.
lot.
I was out with that because
Yeah.
here's the thing.
There's layers to this.
I like a shirt that I don't have to answer questions about, but that somebody who understands gets it. Like I'm wearing a Randy Johnson hates all birds shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I know that anybody who knows that Randy Johnson exploded a bird with a pitch one time
Yep.
gets that, but nobody else is going to ask me about this shirt.
They might.
But if I wear that shirt, people will be like, well, what's your shirt mean? And I'm like, now I have to talk to another person.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I think people who want to troll
Jeff, you
the
famously hate talking to people.
I'm not a talker.
You're
not a talker at all.
Yeah.
This
community.
is-
Jeff hates people.
He
You
really
know,
does.
your other podcast.
You hate him so. You hate people so much that you go to their art shows and introduce your friends to your friends.
yeah. I'd rather be hanging out with one of your dad's dentist friends right now.
That's where we started.
Yeah.
I forgot where this.
We
I'm like,
did.
where did this conversation start?
So that's
wrap
where
it
it
up,
started.
baby.
Yeah. No, I mean, we have, what was I going to make this just a full-on commercial for Monstars? No, baby, we're talking history.
Eric's hook pulls you back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what the
So
Blues
I
Traveler
hear.
song is about.
Yeah.
So
I ain't telling you no lies.
shout out to Ken Ober of MTV's Remote Control for being in that video.
Yeah.
So that's I just made the most like 80s and 90s reference that I could have possibly made. And I got to be honest, like the fact that at least Dave, you looked a little confused at that made me feel good.
I can hear the people typing away on their keyboards to Google this to see if it was an actual thing.
It was 100% correct. Yeah.
So I love it.
Yeah, no, I'm confident in my worthless pieces of information that I bring to the table.
Yeah.
That's why some people head on over to patreon.com/Jeff May and give me upwards of $5 so they can hear me say sometimes and then Ken Ober.
Can
But
they
yeah,
also hear me say?
yeah, Dave, what about you?
Not me.
Oh.
I'm holding out for
Oh.
the end.
He's holding out for them.
I'm holding out for the
God.
tokens.
We got you.
Oh, I didn't mean to step on your bit. That's my bad.
It's all right.
So yeah, I introduced you guys, and it turns out, aside from the fact that you guys we're all giants,
Yeah.
which is fun. That you guys
It's fun that our knees and backs are horrible.
my back. You should see when I'm done recording and I get up and I have to do that like old man, like my back, like when Peter Parker falls, hits the car in Spider-Man 2 and just goes, my back, my back. That's how I get up after every recording. I have to do that like hunched hand on the small of my back thing. It might be because I'm laying like a taco shell while I talk to you guys, but
So not quite Gwen Stacy from Amazing Spider-Man 2. Not quite that.
No, not
gotcha.
quite. But same outfit usually.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But yeah, so we all, and I introduced you and I said, Dave, Eric, you guys like pretty much exclusively the same things, which is because I know that because I also like those things.
Because we're giant white
And
people.
and I was
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yes, yeah.
giant,
80s.
long-haired.
yeah.
Yeah, you guys have. You're like Conans. It's just you guys. You both. We all look like different forms of extra in Conan.
Yeah.
in, like the back. Like we're all like, oh, we can need a couple barbarians over
All right,
here.
all right. You're a barbarian. You're a destroyer. You could be King Conan in a couple of
That
years.
Conan, I think I meant Conan O'Brien because of my
O'Brien.
tall forehead. So
He's taller than all of us.
yeah, no, he's a giant. He's
Not
a
true.
Really?
6'4". I met the guy.
He was tall. He was.
6'7".
He's skinny.
He
No,
was
he's not
super.
6'7".
When I met him, he was. Unless he had like lifts in his
I
shoes,
think he
man.
had lifts. I met him. I die that day. I met him.
There you
I
go.
have photo proof.
All right.
I have not met him, but I heard he was 8'6". So
It's not my place to say, but he gave me like an off the record conversation that we had, and it was like the tea, and it was. I'll tell you guys about it after we record.
like
I can't share that
more
because
of a
it's
coffee guy.
He
Yeah.
told me to come to LA, and it was very sweet of him
yeah.
to do so.
And when I talked to him that one time, he told me I'm the most handsome, funny person he's ever met.
that's
Oh,
true.
wow.
Yeah, no, he
So-
nailed it.
Yeah, and he totally said these things
Yeah.
to me.
I can't believe you'd say that on my podcast.
Yeah, it's weird.
On
yeah,
my-
I'm giving you a Jeff May has cool friends exclusive.
Jeff's Handsome Comedy Friends. It's
Yeah.
the same. I can change the title and keep the acronym there.
There you go.
yeah.
The JHCF process. So basically connected, friendly, but then it just kind of just floated into the ether after a while. And then we get a reconnect for you gentlemen
At your birthday.
at my birthday. Bleep that out, editor. Bleep out how old I am.
Really?
No, I don't care.
Okay, good. Because you look great for being only 32 years old.
I am. I can't
believe you bleeped out your 32nd birthday.
Can you believe that at 16?
Yeah.
I look this good, and I've created such a career.
Yeah.
Out of myself.
Shame about your back issues. But,
Sure. Yeah, I do roughly make about as much as a 16-year-old with a part-time job does. So
if you're only 16, I think there's a lot of women you've hooked up with that are now in legally binding trouble.
I'm a romantic child.
There we go.
there we
go.
You know those romantic children.
You know, a romantic child.
16-year-old romantics.
Boy.
That holds well in court, right?
That's going to be clipped
Your Honor,
and posted.
Your Honor, he was a romantic child, you see.
But so my birthday, 40th birthday at Ace Gogi at On Tilt Pinball, we rented out the room so that my friends could play pinball and eat what some might say may be the most overbearing birthday cake I've ever had in my life. It was a chocolate and salted caramel. I couldn't get through 3 bites, and I was like, "This is the heaviest."
It gave me
I've
type
ever
5 diabetes.
Yeah, no, it was the most powerful cake I've ever had. It was like it was like the density of like a dying star.
Yes. Yes.
Density of a dying star. I like that.
Yeah.
It was a real come on, eat me cake.
It was fudge. It was basically it was
yeah.
just like an 8 and it was tall as shit, too.
Was.
It was like a 16-inch round piece of fudge, like a fudge wheel.
I like the idea of it being 16 inches by 16 inches. It's just a ball, like a giant cake pop.
An orb.
Yeah.
Cake orb. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
It was Orby. It was pretty Orby.
You know why that would be great?
Orbish.
Cake pops, not as rich. That was a powerful thing. And so, but you guys reconnected. Dave, because I had read you were actually in Toy Collector.
Yeah.
And you were talking about how you had sort of this like, not necessarily the interview in Toy Collector, very interesting. And you talked about how like pretty much right before the pandemic, you had this kind of almost crisis of a midlife crisis, some could say, about where your properties are going. You've worked on everybody else's properties. You're trying to figure out what's going on. Pandemic hits and you're like, well, now's the time.
Yeah. I lost my job of 10 years. I was at Sideshow Collectibles for 10 years.
Oh, what's that like? What's it like to lose your job at Sideshow Collectibles?
It was really fun. It was on good terms, just like long, like eventually breakups happen. Someone has to initiate it. They initiated it. It was fine because I was going through my own stuff there. So it actually kind of like set me free, but the timing was horrible because it was weeks before the pandemic and the lockdown. So that was definitely like helped push my crisis into bigger crisis mode, which is always fun. And then
it's a crisis with an exponent.
Ooh, it is like having multiple friends. It's like multiple crises.
Yeah, there you go.
Is it Crisis?
I think it's called the Crisis on Infinite Days.
It was either going to be you or me. I was waiting for it. And I'm like, you got it.
There we go. Yeah, I was just like, I started working with another friend, Paul Komoda, on before that happened.
Brilliant designer.
Yeah, amazing artist. He designed and sculpted. I just hit him up to design and sculpt the Keshi style, which is like classic muscle figures, like 1 to 2 inch, 3 inch max, kind of a all single color, super stylized, like big hands, big feet, big head.
I have two. I have 2 of those. I have the gray and the fluorescent green.
I forgot who got the colored ones. That sounds.
I got the fluorescent green for. I got the fluorescent green one as a gift for what turned out to be one of the worst people I knew. So I was like, well, I guess I'm keeping this.
I buy gifts for horrible people all the time.
It was one of those things where I'm like, I'm going to get this for this person. And then I started looking around. I'm like, this person doesn't deserve this.
I did get a gift for someone, and I totally regret getting it for Idi Amin. It was bad.
Well, I don't know why you didn't know that. Wait, you also got him something.
I also got
I didn't want to name names just in case.
Sorry.
Who? Idi Amin. Idi Amin was the butcher of Somalia, was it?
I believe so, yes.
Where's
It's
he
fine.
from?
There we go. I was like, who's EME? And I'm just an idiot and I'm deaf. So
He was Uganda. Excuse me.
Uganda, the last king of Scotland.
So during the
famously.
entire he was Forrest Whitaker. During the 1970s, he
I don't
basically
trust
was
anyone with those eyes like Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
You know, the
Forrest
way he looks
Whitaker.
at you
Yeah,
is
he's Two-Face, One-Face.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was once I saw somebody did a thing where they did half of his face and they just wrote CBD and on the other side it was THC. Or it was like indica and sativa or something like that. And it's like, he looks like that.
I'm allowed to make.
But Jeff, you and I have learned we're never going to do that again. But we're still on for Pol Pot's birthday, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. People with
Pol
glasses.
Pot really gets a bad rap. You
You
know,
know, I blame the dead Kennedys.
yeah.
They really just made him like just part of their song.
Yeah.
I mean, really, just kind of the subject of the whole song there.
Yep.
But so that did happen. You were working with Paul Komoda.
Oh yeah, I was like, where were we? We were
I
talking
got
about
you.
the
I got you, man.
Mongolians.
You got this,
Yeah, there we
man.
go.
You got this.
And I had these figures. So you did a Gilman and a Cthulhu, and then I was like, you know what? Let's just make this a nice even number 3 because it's an even number, not an odd number.
Yeah, that's not how that works. But go on.
Three is a magic number.
It's a magical number. Where
It's
like,
actually company.
it's a company.
Yeah.
What does that mean? 3 is a company technically. Like
Three's
a
company
double?
too.
Oh my gosh! All right, guys, this is why I'm a husk of a human being. My brain is mush. Is because Kickstarters make you believe anything and go, "What? I'm an idiot about everything." So
Well, these things are hers and his and hers.
there we go.
Three's company too. You guys should make a John Ritter.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, sure.
That's
Well, let's contact his estate. Get him involved in Monsters.
Contact Amy
could be
Yazbek. Yeah.
Ritor or
John Ritter.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I bet you could just shave a King Randor toy and you'd get a
Just
John Ritter.
Ritter.
there you
I
go.
like
That's
that.
dude. The ore thing is really caught on as like magical because even when we were testing something that we can't announce yet, but we're playing a version of this thing as a thing, and everyone kept giving me feedback like, or you could do this, or you could do this, and that's why I'm like, that is the magical thing, and that became part of the marketing for the toys is when you do the swap out part. Anyways, we're jumping ahead. I'm really good at jumping around.
That's okay.
But,
You're just like
so-
House of Pain. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Paul Komoda did great stuff. We had our set of 3, our nice even number 3 of our little mini Keshi monster things. And then I was like, that was in 2020, and then early 2021, I wanted to do more of that, like create stuff that I just want that fits into my toy collection, which is heavily He-Man, Ninja Turtles, Street Sharks, Extreme Dinosaurs, like
Cowboys of Moo Mesa.
I don't have any of those actually. I didn't have those. I didn't have any Bucky O'Hare figures until recently, so I got
Yeah.
those.
That's my
'Cause-
jam too.
Yeah, except for the little kid with glasses, very
Oh,
very punchable face.
Yeah, very
you know?
punchable.
Yeah, yeah, you wanna
need
beat a
for-
kid.
No need
Yeah.
for that.
You know why? He's too romantic.
Yeah,
He's too romantic of a kid. He can't handle that.
I think he's 16 years old too.
Yeah,
you know?
perfect.
Yeah, and he still looks like Anakin Skywalker from Phantom Menace, but with glasses.
That's a good, so punchable.
He does.
It's very
punchable.
Oh, you just want to hit him.
So I was looking at those toys. I was like, man, I love these things, but there's some I didn't get because I used to be a completionist. Now I can't
Yeah.
be anymore because it's just you'd have too many of too
No,
many.
you
things.
can't live in LA and be a completionist collector. You have to be a
No.
dentist in Minneapolis.
Ooh, yeah, or Idaho, or Nebraska, or Montana,
Or-
land.
Any of these places that have room.
I
Yeah.
mean, you could even be a podiatrist in Montana to be a completionist.
I want to be a podiatrist in Montana.
I'm not saying you would want to, but you could.
That's the range. You don't want to have to deal with feet on the range.
Wanna or coulda,
That's why you get all the big money, though, as a podiatrist in Montana.
That
though.
is fair. That is fair.
and having podcasts. I hear, you know,
Indeed, yes.
Jeff, you could live in Montana and have all this space for, you know, you could
I
be on
could.
the 80th floor of a skyrise in a bigger city.
I could. So
You
much
know?
marble. The marble transportation would be the most expensive part.
Probably.
Of it. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true that you're further away from the port.
I've seen
So-
how I saw what the movers did to my Keurig. I'm not 100% sure the marble statues would.
like, is this a football drop kick?
Dude, I'm glad I don't have my Keurig anymore. It was a very wasteful thing. Get rid of your Keurigs, you lazy pieces of shit.
Do yourself a favor. Give yourself the ritual of a French press.
Do you ever see like the Keurig, like the effect that it's had on the environment with all those little plastic
All the
pods?
pods, yeah.
And everyone was like, "Could you not make coffee before?" Was that the problem?
I'm already contributing to the plastic problem with toys. So,
yeah, right.
you know,
Man,
I'm not going to double dip by
gotta-
adding pods into this.
I got to tell you, when the Matrix, when they reevaluate and they like, we get buried under all this rubble, when archaeologists find our level, our era, our epic, they're going to be like, what were these guys up to? Because they're going to find Funko Pops.
Mm-hmm.
And like, and they're gonna be like, they worshipped these small turtle deities, and you're like, no, well, kind of.
Yeah.
Some people
They're like,
did.
and why are there so many of them?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things they worship. Could they not make up
The
their minds?
same
of which...
turtle deity played baseball and was a member of Starfleet.
Yeah.
And
They
so-
decorated these Funko Pop men with different outfits, and Jesus.
They love black eyes, obviously.
Soulless.
Soulless, beady black eyes.
That's why they fell. That's why we fell. But yeah, so okay, so
and
now
Monstors happened. No, I'm
Yes.
kidding. Huh? What? Yeah.
And then Monsters. You're like, and then I contributed to the fall of the environment.
You wanted some toys that reflected the collections that you had and wanted to grow.
I was just joking about, like, have you seen that meme about drawing the owl? Like, if you just Google drawing owl tutorial, it's like, step 1, draw a couple circles.
Yeah.
Step 2, finish the owl.
Finish the owl.
Something like
yeah.
that was this. But I was looking at my toy collection, like, what don't I have that I want, and what do I love? And I realized I loved big buff barbarian brawler
Me too.
things. So, and then I also love villainy cool creature things. Like when I look at the He-Man toys I have like 20 cool looking bad guys for every one okay good guy.
The good guys are so boring.
They are. It's really kind of shameful how like they could have been so much cooler. And they're like, let's save all the cool for the bad guys. Like,
Honestly, though, yeah. Like, I get that. And it's also like, even with He-Man, the more interesting heroes look like Snout Spout is the most ridiculous looking dude.
Yeah.
which is my favorite of the He-Mans.
It's a fireman in
Actually.
an elephant mask.
Yeah.
It's not even his real head.
Not a mask,
Yeah,
a
and
helmet,
that- yeah,
sir. A
and-
helmet.
And to your point, the other heroes are boring. Like, oh, Mechaneck, what's his power? His neck's long.
He looks-
Erecting.
He looks like
Yeah.
an ass.
Yeah,
Mechaneck
like-
looks
yeah.
like such an ass.
And Ram Man, oh, does he look like a ram, like a mutant or anything like that? No, he just headbutts things a lot. He
No.
goes, oh my
No,
head.
yeah, no, he's just the worst figure in the bunch.
I like too how they scraped the
I
bottom
don't know,
barrel
Orko.
twice. Oh, Orko is.
Yeah.
But they had like
The OG Orko, I should say.
they went from Mechaneck to Extendar. They're like, you know what? Let's make it not just the neck. Let's make it his arms and his legs and his torso.
You know
No
how-
lie, I kind of like Extendar.
You know why Extendar is interesting is because he doesn't belong in that set.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Does not belong in that toy. Like, he looks like something that would be called like the Pearl Knight from the Neverending Story. or
Honestly,
something.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, he looks like he so doesn't belong. It was like in G.I. Joe when they had sci-fi. And they had all these
Yeah.
Legos, and then there's one guy that's like, and I'm colored like a highlighter.
Yeah.
And you're like,
those are my favorite G.I. Joes, though. The color, the bright, weird.
Oh, like the late run 1993
Yeah.
G.I. Joes and yeah, Street Fighter characters. And
Did I call him Extendor?
Ninja Force.
Did I
you said
call him
Extendar.
Oh, I did? Okay. I was just like, as soon as you said, I'm like, did I say Extendor?
Doesn't matter.
So I missed everything you just said because I was going through that in my head 80 million times. Like, what did I say?
That's great. That's great. That's certainly
good,
great
bud.
when you're trying to remember this story.
Yeah. I was like, wait, what? And now this is going to be the episode of Extendar versus Extendor. Now I'm going to make a character called Extendor.
You
There
should
you go.
totally do that.
Yeah.
But just like make it just like a rabbit mixed with like a jackal. and
Yeah,
just
there
be
we
like,
go.
It's funny because with I'm not telling tales out of school. There is a character that is not too dissimilar to that combination
I feel like that would be a pretty great scenario
that
here.
I
Yeah, but yeah.
pitched.
We've shown a few, and there's some that were like, a lot of people have contributed ideas like,
Yeah.
what about, and sometimes they make sense, and sometimes it's like it's hard to put like your finger on, like in my point of view, like why I feel something works or doesn't work, but it's just like this gut of like, oh, that does work. I don't know about that one. Let's hold it back for later.
Perfect. I got an idea.
Yeah.
A
What's
dick
your-
and a butt.
a what?
A dick and a butt.
Ooh,
Oh, the
what
internet
about
beat you to it,
a
bud.
dick with a butt with a dick
The dick itself
on the butt.
has a dick on the butt. Man, you're playing 3-dimensional chess, buddy,
Oh,
and I
man,
like or
dick-
4-dimensional chess. 3-dimensional chess is just chess.
So dick butt dick.
Dick butt dick. I think
might-
you might get sued by Dick Butkus though.
Oh, I think he's dead, isn't he?
Well, he's got an estate.
He's not kissing anybody. This character we're conjuring up.
He is when I'm playing with him.
So
Ooh.
I may or may not have gotten in trouble at one point in my life for allegedly having a picture of dick butt hanging up in my office. It may or may not have happened. I can't confirm or deny because I honestly can't remember. But if anyone hasn't Googled dick butt, it's like one of the
Dick
greatest
butt's great.
creations ever.
Love dick butt.
And I've actually thought about getting it tattooed on my butt.
Don't do that.
Nope.
Nope.
I kind of want to.
Well, then
'cause it's
do it.
dick butt on your butt, and that's like.
do you like
extra
your
meta.
wife?
She doesn't have to look at my butt too often, though. You know,
She is the person that will see it the most.
Yeah.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
All right.
she would get it. I
Sure.
mean,
She will
there's things
occasionally
about her
be
life.
touching that tattoo.
She'll laugh every time. No longer a serious sexual moment. It'll all be giggles.
That's the best kind.
Actually, yeah.
See?
Giggle sex is a giggle is a good.
Hell yeah, we got gross real fast.
Nah, yeah,
I love that.
We're getting honest here.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know what? That's my fault for bringing up dick butt dick.
It's great though. It's one of the greatest creations. Like I want to meet this person who created Dick Butt. And I've been commissioned to draw Dick Butt before, which is great. At Anime Expo, I was booth babing for a friend, helping him out with his booth, and someone saw I could draw, and they're coming around with a whole sketchbook, and they're just like, we're having people draw a dick butt. And that's all that they wanted. I'm like,
hell yeah.
sign me up for this.
Hero.
Biggest comedy crowd I've ever had was at Anime Expo.
It's crazy.
The biggest stand-up crowd I've ever had. It was like 2,000 people, 2,000 weeby teenagers, and I'm doing my jokes about like, I have a bad back, and they're like, "Okay, old man."
Who
But it
are
was good.
you? Yeah.
Yeah, it was good though. It was a surprisingly great audience.
That's awesome.
Shout out to all the weeby teens out there.
Oh, shout out to all the weeby teens. Cut it out.
All the 2 that would listen to this podcast.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to all you loud theater kids at the local restaurant. Everyone in the restaurant hates you. Calm down.
All
Depends
all
on the-
three of them
Dude, I gotta tell you,
at the
man.
local restaurant.
I love my niece and nephew, but they bring theater. My niece is straight up theater kid, and I'm like, hey, I love that you get to be who you are, but also like be aware of your surroundings when you guys are being theater kids. Like, just remember, some people have had a hard day in this Chili's.
Do they do that at Chili's and Denny's and stuff like? Well, like what do they do? I don't know
They're
what
just
this
like
is.
the loudest, most obnoxious, and dramatic group of teens you could possibly imagine.
fun.
Do you just ask for 125,600 minutes of silence from them?
Man, wouldn't that be nice? Just a whole year that you don't hear from a 16-year-old that's in theater. Oh man, that would be
I didn't
good.
say it would be in a row, but
Well, I mean, sure, they sleep sometimes.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, that's all well. and
Even theater kids have to sleep.
good. And then Monsters happen.
And then Monsters.
And then
happen.
Monsters magically happen because the theater kids
Yeah,
like
of course.
sleep forever.
But so you're just like, I want to make what I want to buy.
Yeah.
I want to make what I want to collect. These don't exist.
yeah.
And I mean, they actually say that with artists. They say, create the art you want to buy.
Yeah.
And
And
then-
sometimes artists have, like, not to brag, but I think sometimes artists make stuff that they want, and what they want is what no one else wants. And there's some like,
That's like honorable to me.
yeah, it's honorable. And then there's like the part of me, we were talking about this earlier. Like there's a chaos to it, and like the artistic like gut of like, this is what I want to do. And then there's also some like science to this. And I was trying to put on my business hat and like, what do I think needs to happen and what's not being serviced enough out there? And I looked and like, I love
me.
He-Man.
It's me. I'm not being serviced.
You are, it's not it.
Ooh,
So
ooh.
after this thing, for a doll. So it's
Like
like,
what?
what is missing out there? And I felt like there isn't. I can't think of like the last time like a big IP really kind of like blew up in that like He-Man meets Ninja Turtles, like what Street Sharks did. Even like Ben 10 to a degree, even though that was a little bit more like alien sci-fi focused. But what's like the last thing that kind of like hit right between those two? So I was like, let me just make this for fun. And looking at my toys, I'm like, I don't have a shark character, even though Street Sharks are huge. It was like Street Sharks are like giant heads with legs and arms popping out where their ears should be. You know, I'm like, I want something more He-Man-esque, Ninja Turtle-esque, but a shark.
I
And then
think
was
what
like,
you're saying is, as an elder millennial, you are like, I would like to recreate the things I loved from
Yeah.
when I was a child, and I
Yeah.
would like them to be nice.
yeah, like
Yeah.
a comfortable familiarity. That's a hard word. I love that. Familiarity. But bringing something new and fresh and unique to it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I want a shark, but what would make this cooler is if you had horns. So I'm like, ooh,
A bull
shark
shark.
with bull horns, bull shark. But then I was like, that could be cool. But I'm like, visually, how to make this gel more. And then when I was walking my dog one night, I was thinking like, oh, orca killer whales are black and white. Cows are black and white. Oh, that's what's got to be a killer whale, like cow bull thing. And then,
Cowler whale.
dude, that could be its backup name in case something happens. I don't want to harp on this too much, but because its name is Shamumu, it's amazing. And who knows what is
great
going
name.
to happen down the line. But so far, I'm safe. And yeah, so came up with that name, that idea, that character, that mashup. Went home, texted my buddy Erwin Papa, an amazing designer. And I was like, we got to hop on a call. And we hopped on a call. I'm like, all right, I have this idea. It's He-Man meets Ninja Turtles, blah, 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 Buff Brawler Bros, 2 animal mashups. I want to do a killer whale cow thing. And I also want to do a Cobra Scorpion because I wanted my scale tail from Ninja Turtles I love, but I hate that I can't really stand up because it has a weird like
got a weird
tail
leg,
yeah.
And it always tilts to one side.
Yeah, it's a toy.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, it's a great
No,
toy.
it's a
for
great
play-
it's a great look,
yeah.
but from a toy playing perspective, it's pretty.
Yeah.
Toy
can't
playing it works good for, but
posing.
toy display.
Display. It's,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
you got to do it
that's
mint
what the
on
issues
card.
are.
That's why you got to do it on mint. You got to keep it mint on card. Mint on card. Second Friday of every month at Blast from the Past in beautiful Magnolia in Burbank, California.
Micro Machines needs a new person, Jeff.
Yeah, that guy died, right?
I know.
Probably.
Like 10 years ago.
So I guess
think
they also
20,
need
30 years ago.
a new history teacher at, say, a Bayside. Because he also...
Oh yeah, I totally forgot that he was a teacher at Bayside.
Big break on a FedEx commercial, I believe that was his big break. In like
was.
1982.
Nice.
They're making more Transformers movies. They need a new Blur.
Yeah, very nice.
Good callback.
Thank you.
But I was like, all right, I want a Cobra guy, but what would make him cool is I, like Jeff May, love Clawful and I love claw-armed characters. So, but instead of going Clawful, like crab lobster route, I'm like, what if I went Scorpion route? Because then it'd be Cobra, Fangs, Pincer, and Tail of Death. So that
Man,
makes him,
it's like putting a hat on a hat, really. That's
Yeah.
a dangerous dude.
That's the Monster way.
Yeah.
hat on hat, or beers on hat, or helmet. A beer helmet hat.
Please tell me that that's going to be in the accessory pack.
Yeah. I don't think someone's invented that yet. Like a hat you wear that holds 2 beer things on the side.
No, I've never seen one at a
we
sporting
should
event.
make that.
We should.
A novelty beer dispensing helmet. Yeah.
You know, I have a friend at Spencer's Gifts. Maybe they might be interested.
They'd be able
Yeah.
to find, maybe
Shark Tank. Sharks. I have an idea.
Monster,
Have an
monster
idea.
take.
Hear me out.
Brick and mortar store.
Say you want to get super hammered at the Chiefs game.
And your hands are full of other stuff and you can't possibly hold your beer and you're not a
But you got
sis-
2 hot dogs.
I'm so hungry, but I'm thirsty at the same time. What's a guy to do?
and you're
Say
Italian.
you want to have 2 beers, but you also already have 2 beers. Then now you have 4 beers.
You don't have 4 hands. What are you, a monster?
What are you, a monster or
A
something like that?
monster?
Do you have any 4-handed monsters yet?
No, we're going to have a 2-headed bear that actually has 3 heads and 3 arms. He's going to be wave 2 Berserker.
Yeah,
That's such a
He's
cool
a
name.
fan favorite.
he is.
But
He's personally my favorite.
yeah.
My love for you is making toys Berserker.
Love it.
There we go. Clerks reference. We like to bring a nice new. We like to stick with the zeitgeist.
I thought that was strong bad.
Kevin Smith is, head of the Motu cartoon.
He is,
so,
yeah.
Motu is not too dissimilar to the Monstors. It is
It
one,
all
of, one of
ties
several
together.
references. It all
Yeah.
ties together.
Yeah, they got to stop trying to bite all your shit, man. You
Yeah,
guys
they're
are
copying me.
really.
They're like, you know what we need? Animals with weapons. I'm like, what?
I
did it first.
I got an idea for a human character. Man-he. Muscly
Jeff.
guy with a Prince Valiant haircut.
I'm so offended with how stupid that is. I might leave.
Oh, no.
I would have
I
thought
might
you might
get up-
turn it into. You might leave so I can go home and design it as a toy
Walk
when
home.
I get
Yeah,
back.
you stole my idea. Secretly gonna leave and copyright it before anyone else could do it. Dang it. But
Contact everyone, Papa. I'd like a man mixed with a different man.
I'd like a man mixed with a bodybuilding man.
I like that idea of you could do half of his hair could be blonde, the other half could be dark, and he could be tan, and then
Yeah.
one of his eyes could be brown, one of his eyes could be blue.
Has half a beard.
Yeah.
So he's just like regular
No, just
guy
a neck
Two Face.
Yeah, there you go.
Just the beard.
Neck beard.
You're just making Two Face, but like if Two Face was a bodybuilder that had nothing to do with acid.
Yeah, I like this.
No
idea.
burns, no acid.
Yeah.
I do like that.
has
actually,
has
yeah.
incredibly jacked left side, and the right side is just elongated.
So I want to come back to the history of that, but that does make me think like, do these characters exist in a world with humans, or is this its own fantasy world where all living beings
think
are
this is where I
monstrous
come in.
hybrids?
Are we talking about Monstors? Or are we talking about this
Monstors,
half
yeah.
He-Man, half Conan?
Well,
half
before
and
we
half
can get to the-
before we do this brilliant pitch that Jeff has given us.
Yes, this money make. You're leaving millions on the table. We all know
There you
this.
go.
But where we left off is you went to Irwin Papa to create these awesome designs for these toys.
And then I rolled a whole cartoon show outline all by myself. No one helped me.
Because
on this.
that's interesting too. Because so here's where we're gonna do
That's
the
what happened,
transition
right, Eric?
to Eric, because Dave, in the world of like art. Now, granted, like visual artists definitely get a ton of credit because their stuff is visual, it's purchasable, it's collectible. Eric and I live in the world of sort of like ethereal art. We're performance artists. We write, we create, but we don't draw and have something that somebody can buy. It's like It's like going to a comic book convention. You can get a sketch, but like, what are you going to buy? Like hey, can you write me a story, Marv Wolfman? Like, that's not going to happen.
If you guys
right?
lose your arms in battle, you can still work.
Sure, absolutely.
Artists can't.
Yeah, well, you don't battle.
I don't know. Talk to type sucks.
Yeah,
But
so
still.
then, so Erik. And when I introduced you, I was like, Erik is a brilliant writer, fantastic editor. You're actually one of the best editors. You're a brilliant writer.
Stop.
But I think people underappreciate how good of an editor Erik is. And that's like beyond, because you and Adam Todd Brown both, just incredible editors. You know exactly what to hit when. And that really improves your ability as a writer. But you're a big idea guy. You've talked about TV shows that you've worked on and created and stuff like that.
Pitching to Warner Brothers
Yeah.
and all that fun. Yeah.
Yeah, so then it just kind of like, was this like a merge? Like, how did that happen?
So
Was I a part of this, or did you guys just figure it out?
Yeah, actually.
For timeline purposes, when was your 32nd birthday party where we reconnected?
October 18th, 2021.
So
Perfect.
to my recollection, and you can correct me if you want, David. Shortly after we were like, "Hey, how's it going?" and whatever at Jeff's party, we met like I want to say a week after, maybe even two weeks after, to Mint on Card because we both wanted to support our buddy.
Oh, yeah.
And it was there in which you're like, "Hey, man, you're into the same shit that I'm into. I've been working on this thing. I know you're a writer. Do you want to just have lunch and just talk about?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
Ooh, a date.
definitely." And we went to Home State.
Good
And
tacos.
over tacos, you brought in your portfolio of all these awesome looking drawings, awesome looking creatures, and you told me what you were looking for and all that type of stuff. But you asked me, "Hey, do you have any ideas in terms of like, I'd like to know who these characters are, and I'd like to create a world and all that type of stuff." And you had some ideas, and you're like, "I have this clay, and I know how to sculpt some stuff. Can you help mold it with me?" And I said, "Yes."
That's right up his alley.
That was my jam.
I actually had this lump of clay, and I'm like, I'm going to sit here and spin this clay. I want you to approach me from behind, Patrick Swayze style.
That was
and
nice.
help me shape this clay. There's no molding yet. We're
There
still.
we were ghosting.
You're the new Righteous Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at least that's my recollection of the start of it all.
Yeah, that sounds 98% correct. Because I think at Jeff's birthday party, that's when we got to know each other, and you're like, "I love you, I love you." I'm like, "I'm working on this one thing. I might have shown you on my phone a couple things on Instagram." You're like,
Yeah.
"That's cool." And then when we reconnect at Jeff's Mint on Card thing, I'm like, "Actually, that thing I showed you, I think I want to do more with it." And you're like, "That's cool." And then I'm like, "We should grab lunch." So it kind of like grew more and more.
Yeah.
And I also want to just test the waters with you every time I met you and make sure you weren't like a big creep. You know?
That's fair.
Yeah. I judge all of Jeff's friends. I'm like, "Oh, you know Jeff?"
Here's a good thing about creeps is that
he
when
was friends with Idi Amin and Pol Pot. I don't know.
when I find out a friend of mine is a creep, they just stop being a friend. And I'm usually just like, "Hey, you're done."
Yep.
I'm like, "I don't have time for this." And they're like, "Well, I do this." It's like, "No, that's not. I know what you did."
You know what? Pol Pot had some really good ideas, though. Like, and cut.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what if I wish I could title podcasts with these ones, because it would just be like Pol Pot had some really good ideas.
Pol Pot Pol Pot Pod Party.
Boy, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Pol Pot pod party. F that.
The Pol Pot podcast of Pot Pot.
Speaking of Pol Pot producing podcasters, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I actually have producers on this show.
Do you now?
Yeah, they actually show up on patreon.com/Jeff May. They pay a very, very affordable amount, and then I get to say their name. And then every week they get to hear their name said out loud. It's very exciting for them and me.
Wow,
Do you say it in
it's a
order of
great
importance?
value.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, please.
No, I just didn't know if do you say it in order of importance or alphabetical or random because you don't want to choose favorites.
It's random because I have a favorite. Try to find out which one it is.
nice.
No,
We're
It's a
both gonna
name,
have
a
to
little bit
guess,
more.
aren't we?
Yeah.
no, I don't have a favorite. You know what my favorite is? The one whose check clears every month. That's who my favorites are. And then my least favorites, the ones that downgrade their memberships. Yeah, you heard me.
I know.
I'm
we
listening
know
to you.
we're
No, I'm just
watching.
kidding.
We're
You do whatever.
hitting refresh.
Look, man, I know it's hard, man. You got to choose between like eating and listening to my podcast. Please consider the podcast. It provides you emotional nutrition. But we're gonna give a big shout out to the Tubi Terror Bunny. Says the strike may be over, but egg Bob Iger anyway, cause which I think we changed that one, but I somehow I'm finding maybe an old one. I think he said, yeah, you're right, we have to change that. And then I just never did. So I'll look into that one. A big shout out to Lemming Malloy Returns. Shout out to Bart Fartigan. Shout out to Norm from Cheers. We know him. Norm. Shout out to Dan Hackroyd.
Yeah.
Shout out to Normal Man, Andrew Maguire.
Very normal.
Shout out to check out this month's Nerd with Dre and Jeff, in which we talk about the cult film Surf Ninjas with the star of the cult film Surf Ninjas, Nick Cowan.
Do you support your own Patreon? Did you just plug your own thing?
Well, it says with Dre and Jeff, so you can probably figure out
There we go.
that there's a second person here.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's shout out to Dre, by the way.
Yeah.
Dre also runs my...
Yeah, I've met Dre.
Dre's
awesome.
awesome.
Really nice.
He's
Dre's-
above
Wait,
average.
you've met Dre?
Well, not in real life, but
Yeah,
over our one time we did that other call.
That's
interview
right.
Thing.
That's right.
He was a very nice guy.
Super nice guy. Yeah, that we did the Motu.
Yep.
2000X. Yeah. Episode of Nerd. Watch me use these prehensile nipples to pick up pennies off the floor. A large amount of nipple conversation here. It's a bit much.
Yeah.
The shout out to the Oatmeal Savage. Are you guys oatmeal guys?
I used to be.
No, can't.
No? Is
Carby.
it too carby?
I used to be. I just don't. I'm not a breakfast. My breakfast focus now is eggs.
Cigarettes. No.
Eggs and cigarettes.
I love eggs.
Together at long last.
Mm-hmm.
I could eat so many eggs that every time I would see like one of those breakfast challenges on Man vs. Food, I'd be like, I do not understand the challenge. They're like, it's a 12 egg omelet. And I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
And?
about right. Yeah.
Yeah, I call that course
You
one.
guys gonna have some bacon too, or are we
well.
just having the omelet? Because this is a bit. One time I was hosting, or I was on a comedy show in Albuquerque at a person's house, and the house was gross, and they had no food in the house, and so they were like, "We can go to the store if you're hungry," and I'm like, "I am," and so I just bought a dozen eggs and I fried up a dozen eggs and ate them before the show, and then she was like, "You gonna eat that whole dozen eggs?" I'm like, "Yeah." Why wouldn't I eat the whole dozen? What do you think? I want you to have my eggs? You don't even have food in here.
Calorie wise, a dozen eggs is pretty much a Big Mac and a half?
It's an efficient meal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a calorie efficient meal. I like oatmeal. There's effort that goes into oatmeal that I don't necessarily feel like, but also it's so warm in LA.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, oatmeal is one of those things where like you got to have it on like a cold November morning.
Yeah.
It's like that's just not.
It
really
requires water. I don't like adding water to anything. I like drinking my water, but then when cooking's like, oh, add water. I'm like, do you want me to water down my food? No, thank you.
the basic building blocks of life are not good enough for David Iger. Shout out to Call Me Sean or whatever. Shout out to the Enchanted Wandering Unpierced Left Nipple Cider served at room temperature. God, that name is fun. So much nipple talk.
So much
Taking
nipple
shots every time someone says nipples.
All right.
talk. Oh, I can't have that much fun anymore.
Shout out to Funky J Mostly comes out at night. Mostly.
Mostly.
That's a good name.
Mostly.
They're all good names. Shout out to I'm going to start calling Yoda Old Grogu just to see what happens.
I love that.
That's the best.
Do you remember when we worked at Sideshow and we got that memo that said that we weren't allowed to call Grogu Baby Yoda, and if we did, we would get fired? Or was that just me?
I forgot.
We got that memo that and apparently they were so afraid of losing the Star Wars license.
I can remember the controversy in quotes online when it was revealed that the child's name was Grogu, and I just went, listen, it's still Baby Yoda. Continue.
I also
Move
love
on
that
with your
people were
life,
like,
it's
that
fine.
name is stupid. I'm like, have you seen Star Wars?
Yeah.
Most
No
of the
yaddle.
names are stupid.
It's no
Oh, you
yaddle.
could have named him like Bleep Bloop. Like the fact
It's
that
no Dexter Jetster.
yeah, the fact that they didn't let George Lucas name it is the best thing they could have done.
Yeah.
Like
It's
that's
actually a
could have been-
travesty. I think they should have let him. They should have brought him back into the fold. Be like, George, we need you
actually that is
for one critical thing. Like, what? We need you to name
what?
this not Baby Yoda character.
I'm thinking about it now. He might have actually named this.
How about poops?
Yeah. How about Dick Butt?
Dick, bro.
Sir, that's taken already.
Dick Butticus Oldru.
That
God.
one is available.
Yeah, he is the God man. George Lucas. He needed someone to say no. That guy needed some like from 1997 to 2011. He needed somebody to be like George, like somebody with a spray bottle.
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy should have had like immunity and a spray bottle. And just anytime he'd be like, and then what'll happen is we'll see the Death Star. And she'd be like, no.
That's like something like I'm really curious. Like in the room, was he that way, or were people like, oh, I can't say anything to him, but secretly he's like, I wish someone would have told me. You know, like why didn't anyone tell me I was like the Metachlorians were a bad idea?
Because
you know?
because they didn't want to lose their job.
But maybe he
Yeah.
wasn't that way. Maybe he would have been like, "Thank you, finally, someone's honest with me." I don't know, George. Have you met him? Is he that guy?
Historically
He's the fire-
speaking,
Firehammer guy.
you need to be Steven Spielberg
Yeah,
to tell him no, and even then it's a fight.
yeah.
And the thing is because George Lucas created the most toyetic thing in existence.
Jar Jar.
Yeah.
And so, but he was like, look, this is where the money comes in. Like, yeah, you make maybe you make $1 billion on a movie and whatever and recoup expenses, but you know what you make in toys? $30 billion.
Yeah,
And
multiple
and
billions.
one can not necessarily agree, but understand where he comes from, because it's like, yeah, I made this idea and it was great, and now you're questioning the person that made this multi-million-dollar idea.
Did you know Phantom Menace?
I can't don't second guess me. I get it.
Phantom Menace is the next movie he wrote after A New Hope.
Yeah.
And he asked Lawrence Kasdan to like help him write the script, and he's like, nah. Like Kasdan's like, I'm not dealing with you.
Oh, come on, Larry.
Oh, come on, I'm wearing a flannel shirt.
Help me.
Help me, I got a Diet Coke.
That's good.
Shout out to the ghost of Dave Thomas. Shout out to that scene in Lost City where Brad Pitt dies. Shout out to Aldo Vargas is adding Jeff Has Cool Friends producer to his resume. Full suggestion for all of you that do that at that tier. I will lie. I'll perjure myself for you if you want a job. And
List
put
you as
that
a
you're
reference.
I would list me as a reference. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm still taken aback by the spoiler of the previous name because I still have not seen whatever movie that was. Lost City of Z.
The city in Lost City, the scene in Lost City where Brad Pitt dies. Yeah. Well, this used to be that scene in Meet Joe Black where Brad Pitt dies. And then I was like, hey, you want to update that name? It's been like 2 years. He's like, yeah, it's going to now be Lost City. And I was like, that's so funny.
Keep going with the bit.
Shout out to Burrito. Shout out to Burrito.
Hey,
man.
Burrito.
We just had, Dave and I had burritos on Monday.
Surf and turf burritos.
Surf and turf burritos from
Was it at
Cilantro
Tacos
Mexican.
Hell Yeah?
No.
Cilantro
Oh.
Mexican Grill, dude.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
So when
Chevron
Jeff-
station.
When Jeff comes over, he grabs that in route because it's like halfway between us. And whenever Eric comes over for lunch, I buy us Tacos Hell Yeah because it's right by me and it's amazing.
Tacos Hell
good.
Yeah is good, and we've had that before. But man, that surf and turf burrito is
Pretty
it
I have
good.
to try that.
it is carne asada and shrimp together
Oh yeah.
with like salsa and like a cream ranch sauce in there, plus your vegetables and stuff. It is unbelievable.
I'm gonna have to have a creamless, but yeah.
It's
Those are
very
creams.
on brand for Monsters too because you're mixing cow and shrimp.
There you
Yeah,
go.
There you go. Yeah.
You
Aquatic
know?
life and
Oh, I mean, what a great
land
name
life.
for a character, Surf and Turf.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Like that's a legitimate great name for a character.
I think that's one of those names where you can't like protect it. Like if you make a character called Surf and Turf, other people could just be like, "Oh, here's my Surf and Turf."
Yeah,
you
but
know?
you'd have to do it like surfin,
yeah.
like SURFIN.
It'd be a good duo.
yeah,
Yeah.
Ooh,
Like-
Surf and Turf.
Like if we do another
Bebop and
Bebop
Rocksteady.
and Rocksteady duo, yeah.
or
We
like
got-
or a guy who is a surfer dude,
Mm.
but it's a surfer dude like cow or something like that, and then you could
And a
call
person that hates trans people.
it. Yes.
A
Actually,
surfer and a turf.
I'm really thinking now that Shamumu is the character that I'm imagining in my head when I'm like, yeah, you can make it like a mix of like a cow and like a sea creature. And you call him Surf and Turf. And then I realized, oh, I'm a moron. It's the one of the main two that I've seen. So that's exciting. Shout out to Mr. Billy Beck. And hey, if you want me to do this and say your name, head on over to patreon.com/Jeff May, where you can get early access to shows like this and with all the swears we put in there.
yeah.
So great. You can get cards in the mail, which I'm putting those
You
packages.
get cards in the mail?
You get some cards in the mail. Oh yeah, I've got lots of cards to mail out this month. Really good one.
yeah?
Yeah.
There are 4 requirements though, right? Isn't one is you have to enter your email. The next one is you have to have a clever name. Otherwise, you'll
It doesn't have to be a
rejected.
clever name. Somebody
Jeff
just
has to be clever. Come on.
somebody just wrote "Call me Sean" or whatever.
That's clever.
That's a great name.
How is Sean spelled though? Because
Huh?
that depends on the cleverness. Was it SHAWN?
It's actually CHOUN.
Nice. Not
not.
Sheen Bean or Sean Bon.
Sheen Bean.
Sheen Bean.
Scene bean?
Scene Bean
Mm.
from
This guy
from
clicked.
Goldeneye. Alec Trevelyan.
Yeah.
Remember how he
famous.
fell? Remember how he fell at the end of that movie? It's so brutal.
I remember
He
so many
lands on his-
ways Sean Bean has died.
He lands on his hip off of that satellite dish. That is an unnecessary way to kill that man. And then he's still talking to James Bond at the end. He's like, I'm
Didn't
over.
he slip on something wet too? Wasn't there like a missing
Probably.
thing? He just slipped.
He slipped. He fell off a Sean Beam.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they show him fall, he lands like on his hip, and then he's like, Bond, I'm over. And then I'm just sitting there. I'm like, that's not what you'd be saying if you landed on you'd be screaming until somebody put a bullet in your head.
Just end it, please.
Yeah.
If you're over 40 and you land on your hip like that, you're just gonna explode. Just
Thank God I have a big ass.
dead.
Thank God I have a thick, meaty ass because, man,
Protect that coccyx.
protect that. I'm sorry, what did you
Is
call
that the bone? Your tailbone?
Coccyx.
Coccyx.
So
Like
close.
in Amsterdam.
So close. So close.
The coccyx in your Amsterdam.
You were so close to not committing a crime with the thing you just said, and then you just nailed it.
I like to also like flex. I'm an anatomy expert when I draw and sculpt anatomy, but I don't know the names of anything. I call like the neck muscle like the sternoid. It's like a sterno rather.
Sternocleidomastoid.
I just call it sternoid. It's my
Who
the
gives a
cock.
man?
I just call it neck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thick ass neck.
See all that around the head? That's
Neck.
the neck.
Yeah. So yeah, we're
Look at all that neck meat.
I'm gonna call that Necomusculus. It's gonna be my
I'm
new
hungry
character. Yeah.
for some neck.
You ever have turkey necks?
I would.
Yeah, they're.
I don't think I
apparently
seek it
It's
out.
a soul food delicacy, from what I understand.
Like when I get rotisserie chicken from Ralph's, I eat all of it but the bone. Like I
Right,
eat
just like our
every little
ancestors. Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I used to eat the whole rotisserie chicken.
Yeah.
That's
But you know,
very.
some people get weird about like the neck or the
I won't eat-
tail. I hate
bro,
the tail.
Bro, I won't eat a rotisserie chicken
Why?
because I don't like chicken on the bone. It makes me grossed out.
Oh, you and my wife, man, I love off the bone.
My wife.
I tell you,
Significant
I'm-
other.
I'm trying to live in a more discount lifestyle, and that Costco $4.99 chicken.
Ooh, that's a good chicken.
It's a good chicken, and I just tear into it like a barbarian. Just
Ralph's
with my
on
hand.
Thursdays. Theirs are also $5.
Yeah, yeah.
on
They,
Thursday.
Ralph's needs to have a special day to compete with Costco.
They do.
Love
They,
my Costco.
they need better
membership.
seasoning too. I've found.
I
Who
prefer.
would have thought a guy
white.
named Ralph wouldn't be seasoning something very well? Eric comes in and sort of helps flesh out the sort of the lore.
Is that one of the other patrons' names? Because that's weird.
No, we're past that.
yeah.
Wow, what a name!
Damn.
yeah. That was
Seems to be
really
predicting something.
yeah. That was a weirdly, that's a new patron that signed up just after I booked you two to do the episode.
Love
what a
it.
coincidence.
And so that's weird. It's just
Yeah.
Eric's just shifting funds to make sure he can pay.
Money laundering.
What PayPal address is that?
But yeah, so I forgot that's where we were half an hour ago. But I approached Eric and we met for lunch. And I'm like, here are these characters. I brought a binder of like the characters, the art, some ideas, some of their like Shamumu, the oceanic battle boss. It's like, okay, cool. So he's from the ocean. That makes sense, you know? And then I'm like, all right, I want him from these different areas. I don't think I had the world map started then.
No.
I don't think I had like a work, but I just had
Okay,
the
so it's not
characters.
like our world map is what we're getting at here. This is a fantasy world, or is it Earth?
Or is
Ooh.
it?
It's actually, it's not to jump ahead and spoiler alert. And I don't think it spoils anything. I think we're gonna
No, it's fine.
But it's like, boom, Earth exists, dinosaurs are there. Boom, comic destroys all the dinosaurs, shakes up the continents. Earth exists as we know it. Humans are here. Boom, Earth dies again. Not sure how it's gonna happen. And so this is kind of like Earth 3 or
So
third Earth. No one's done that.
The
before.
Matrix.
Yeah,
This is you guys. They're in the and then they control all the humans that are left.
yeah.
So they're on the. So they exist on sort of the over the Funko Pop layer.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, good,
like
good.
billions of years later, whatever the math is.
That's
and then,
gonna okay. That's a scene.
A
There's
world,
a scene in
world,
your movie.
a world that they have dubbed Rock.
Yep, ROKK, Rock. I don't know how they're gonna say
It's
it, but
actually Rockix is actually how you pronounce it. Yeah.
So when they fight each other, they say "kick rocks," and that means
That means kick Earth.
Kick
yeah,
Earth.
You're a planet mover.
Yeah.
Kick the Earth.
Yeah,
We've all said that. I say that whenever I'm going to get into a fight.
yeah.
And yeah, that's ever since it was just every couple weeks or so we would get together and just bounce ideas off of one another and try to expand this world. He would pitch character ideas, I would pitch character ideas. We would also pitch like story beats and where could this person come from, where could this character come in, and so on and so forth. And we kind of just together have developed this awesome world, awesome stories, all this type of stuff that we can continue to grow and expand as the toy line grows and expands, and hopefully into just more and more toys, but maybe a comic book, maybe a cartoon, maybe something else. And we're not putting a limit on this. We're just going to see where it goes. But
Man,
ultimately, it starts with this Kickstarter.
That would have been fascinating if you put a limit on it.
I was gonna say I'm putting a limit after this Kickstarter. I'm burying the IP.
Yeah,
Wait,
just
what?
get rid of it.
This is news to me.
Big scam, big scam.
Jeff May has Cool Friends exclusive news. This just in: Monsters is dead.
Can't
no.
believe you misnamed my podcast.
And this is how I find out.
Kickstarter.com/projects/monstors, MONSTORS. Great that wasn't taken. Very, very prodigious. As of this morning, you guys crested to 69,000, which means now I have to say nice 1,000 times.
I actually
I know.
woke up this morning at $68,987. And I was getting ready to take Kelly to work because we have one car, and I needed the car today to come do this. And she was there, and we're getting ready to go. I'm like, I have to do something real quick before we leave. I know this is going to make us 5 minutes late. She's like, what do you mean? And I showed her the Kickstarter. I showed her I signed up with my personal account, and I put in the $13 I needed to hit the exact number.
Now that was this morning.
That was this morning.
We are recording at 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and you have gotten about another $1,000.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
So you're at 69,851.
Rich.
So right, you got about another $900 from where you woke up this morning, not counting your $13, right?
Yep.
So I perused the Kickstarter. I'm still trying to. I have to shuffle my funds.
Yeah. It's all right.
I have to steal. I'm gonna rob you guys. No, one of the things you did. First off, you made a commercial with another giant bearded cool friend of mine, Aaron LaPlante.
Yeah.
Also known on Instagram as @Dooder, I believe, DOODER. One of the nicest people in the world. I don't know if I connected you two. I think I did at a con, right? I was like, Dave, you should know. How did you meet?
Mint on Card was the first time I met. It was, you were frantically getting ready, like, Dave, Aaron, Dave, you guys are cool. Aaron did the voice in Primal. Bye. And he just like ninja smoked out of there.
Yeah, it was because I was like, you guys are going to love each other.
Yeah.
And he does those emotional support objects.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen those?
I haven't seen that one.
Emotional support objects. He makes these. They're like small little carded, like small versions. Like, I don't know what the scale is, maybe 10th scale or something like that. Of it'll be like an old TV with like the Orion logo on it, or from like,
that's his new venture,
and it's an old like famous Monsters magazine, or like he did the old Sears Wish catalog from like 1986. Like he makes those, but he makes them in miniature.
See, I met him also at Mint on Card I don't know. I think he just gave me one.
He does that.
I not one of those, but he gave me a Ghostbusters animation cell with also Poltergeist.
He does those too.
Yeah,
he makes small versions.
Oh,
of
it was
those
Poltergeist.
now,
Mine was Shining. Yeah,
he
was
Shining. Yeah,
you can tell. Here's the thing too, and this isn't a show about Aaron LaPlante, but I'm not going to shy away from talking about the great Aaron LaPlante, who
He's wonderful.
He's the VO like Monstors guy on this, which is the work is incredible. He is such a kind person that you can go to any pop culture-y, like nerdy store in the Burbank, North Hollywood area. You will see one of his animation cells that he created.
This does not surprise me.
Just in the wall, there, Be Kind video, like, Blast from the Past, like everywhere. He just loves, dark delicacies. Like he just loves sharing his work.
He is a merry man of Magnolia Park.
He is. He's a wonderful. He lives in like Venice. So he just like comes out to the valley.
Don't dox the guy.
I'm like, save some money, move back out here.
I think he lives in Montana.
Wait,
yeah,
what?
Well, oh, really?
Oh, that explains.
We got to get him a good podiatrist.
Only the best.
But so like when you think about that, and then so like that, this actually, by the way, makes me feel great. Like, and I know this isn't about me. I know the
Yeah,
podcast
you
is
own
literally
20% of Monstors for all your contributions.
so, but it's like being able to connect to you guys, being able to connect you to Aaron. Like, that's one of the things of like this social web that you create of people that you can vouch for, that there are so many people that have so many incredible talents that maybe aren't always super visible, or they don't go around talking about them so much. And then all of a sudden you're just unlocking shit all the time. That makes me so happy. So I went on here, right? And you have this commercial, the Monstors commercial, which is
it's
incredible.
the playable thumbnail or whatever. Like when you go to the page, it's like, here's the image of what the Kickstarter is, and has the play sign
Brilliant.
over it. You hit play and boom, you're going to be transported back to the 80s and 90s.
Brilliant, right? A brilliantly aggressive 80s and 90s, just perfect commercial. And then underneath it, you did something that is a brilliant maneuver that I would not have done, which is you put the Monstors alongside all of the other sort of toys of that era so that people could understand the scale. And that to me is brilliant.
Scale and inspiration and how they fit thematically with what
Yeah,
you might already have. It was kind of like a triple hit combo.
Yeah.
And a lot of people get weird. I was talking about this with someone the other day about like their IPs being compared to another IP being intellectual property. And it being like, oh, that reminds me of this. Then people get weirdly butthurt about it. It's like, no, you should embrace that, because when it feels familiar, people are more accepting to let it in rather than here's this completely foreign thing you don't understand.
And on top of that, everything has been inspired by something else to begin with anyway. So why not just embrace the love letter of it all?
Nah, Monsters is 100,000% original, Eric, and no inspiration from anything ever.
You know what's funny though is that you do see the people like, I came up with the idea of cars that turn into planes on their own. It's like, yeah, but also Mask.
Yeah.
Also Mask happened.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
no.
Yeah.
So this project, I mean, for what it is, meaning so it's like a very unique sort of like niche world that it's in. You had a very modest, was it like 120? Is the
120,000
was the goal, so you guys can get these into production and everything like that.
That's pretty much my break even, and I ran 8 financial scenarios of like, what does this mean? What does this mean? Because I'm working with this production partner, Chris Garwich of the Four Horsemen Studios. He's awesome. He had his own Kickstarter, the Biblical Adventures. He made Jesus figure toys, which are amazing.
For those of you that don't know, Four Horsemen, widely responsible for the resurgence of the Motu line back in the early aughts.
Check out the episode of Nerd with Dre and special guest David Igo, where we actually talk about the Masters of the Universe 2000X property, and we definitely address the Four Horsemen.
And Dave Igo definitely does not mistakenly call the fright zone the fear zone in that episode.
That's right. You have not forgotten about that, have
I
you?
will never live that down.
You forgot how to say coccyx, but man, that's
and the other one too, whatever the other one was.
sternocleidomastoid or
Yeah,
whatever.
something.
Oh, the neck.
The Eine kleine Nachtmusik or whatever it's called. I don't know.
Anecdote? What was the other one? There's another word from earlier.
Anakin? What?
Nah, it's fine. I'm
I
glad we
think
forgot.
exponent.
I forgot. I'm glad we all forgot
Said
what I just said.
you were-
Amsterdam.
You were trying to say ampersand, which was wrong, and you said Amsterdam, which was double wrong.
Kelly gets me my wife
My wife.
gets me all the time for saying linear the way I say it, which I still don't know
Linear?
what's wrong about
Like
it.
Greg Kinnear.
I still say linear, and it's the correct way in which to say linear. And she does not like how I say linear.
Well, I think what you're doing is you're merging the E and the A, which you're not supposed to in this specific event. That's because English is a weird language.
English is terrible.
Yeah.
Take that from a writer.
We should change it to OR, and then it can make it a character. Linear.
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 Linor.
I'm gonna slap the shit out of you if you do that. Linear. How could you do this to me, Dave, on my own show?
Oh, God.
Just here to make it miserable, Jeff.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much.
Where were we?
We're in my living room, you idiot. I mean, we're in my 20th story penthouse surrounded by cooling marble statues.
We're
of
so
me.
distracted because the sun is glaring our faces and baking us
Yeah.
alive. But thank God for these coolant marble statues.
Yeah,
that.
thank
Yeah,
goodness
yeah,
for
yeah.
that.
Did you notice how they're in the shape of Shamumu?
And they also, like when they get hot enough, they actually cry a little bit because you installed the water system in their eyeballs.
But so you put them next to like Ninja Turtles, Food Fighters, Street Sharks. They're closest in scale to Street Sharks, it seems.
Yeah, they're halfway between He-Man and Ninja Turtles. Like when you think of Ninja Turtles and He-Man, you're like, oh, they're the same size. They're not. And so they're considered 5.5-inch scale, even though Ninja Turtles are like 4 inches and He-Man's about 5.5 inches. So the Monstors, bottom of foot, top of head, they're about 5 inches each. So with a little tiny base for extra stability, and then like Shamumu's back, fin, or Sting Cobra's tail, they can shoot up to like 5.5, 6 inches. They vary character to character. But yeah, so the goal is 120,000, and my like the production cost I got back from Chris was like the initial estimates from the first factory we quoted this with is like what I'm running with, and I'm hoping to God, fingers crossed, thoughts and prayers, please, that we can get the price down a little bit, because I ran kind of like a worst case scenario. So if I hit the 120,000, I might break even. I might lose a couple $1,000s. Not totally sure, because there's always something you forget about, because artists aren't math people.
No,
You know?
sadly.
Yeah.
You also have Bluetooth and Venom Nom Nom.
Bulltooth.
Yeah, Bulltooth. Yeah.
But his brother Bluetooth is a secret unlock character.
Did I say Bluetooth? Because I thought I said Bulltooth. But it also...
we heard Bluetooth, which now come to think of it, now we have a
Should
new
be.
variant of Bulltooth.
Yeah, we're gonna make an all blue one.
that has a headset on,
yeah. So just...
holding a phone, and
you also have color swap variants, including glow in the dark variants. So like, do you have a part on this where I can get one of every single toy?
There's
I'm going through.
various,
There's a lot of options.
There's
here.
various all in. So I try to make it clean. I've seen Kickstarters that when you look at them, it's confusing, and you get your brain shuts down. You just don't get anything because you're just like, I don't even know what to do.
Yeah.
So I try to make it be like, oh, you like one figure, or you like the other figure? Cool. You can buy them separate, or you can buy a set and there's a little bit of a discount. Oh, you can buy these other figures. You can buy them individual or buy a set. Everything's
Get that
an add-on.
all-in-one gold.
Yeah, all-in-one standard
Or
is just
all-in
like
gold.
the core figures. Then all the different variants I try to make sense. Like, so we have the two main characters, Shamu and Sting Cobra. Then they're what I call unique character variants, meaning we made unique head sculpts for both of them, new paint schemes. That's Bulltooth, Nom Nom. I believe Eric came up with both those names.
did.
They're
Thank
great
you.
names. The idea to have head swaps, was that like something that you learned from working in like Sideshow and stuff, when we would always have like the exclusive head variants and
Not
stuff?
so much Sideshow, because I was more on the statue side, but other toys, because it's like,
Yeah, but you could-
amortizing tooling cost, you know?
Yeah, but you can be on the statue side and be like, well, we could put
Yeah.
that to toys as well. I mean, they did that a lot with like, Clawful has Buzz-Off's legs or Skeletor's legs, depending on which version you get.
100%.
You know, so I do understand that. Like, it's safe. Like, they're basically kit bashing to create.
I
your own
learned it
thing.
from toys.
it's not just something that appeals to collectors, but it also appeals to kids too. If you look at modern toy lines nowadays, there are many, many toys in which you can go down the aisle of Target and see the new TMNT.
The Isle
their
of
line-
the Isle of Target sounds like the most like mysterious.
The Isle of Target.
the-
But if you go to the toy aisles at Target or Walmart or whatever, you will see like modern IP, all these toys that come with extra limbs and extra whatever, just so they can make their own figures as well, and also to collect all the other characters to make their own original characters on top of your Leonardos and Donatellos and so on that are well established. And that's the brilliance of David, to see that and incorporate that into Monstors.
I'm so brilliant.
Hell
It was
yeah.
actually, I think, something I kind of stumbled into. It was just, again, like no forethought into like, I had this genius idea. It was like an idea for one thing that led to another thing that led to another thing. I kind of like stumbled into something in the middle of the dark. And I think you just have to realize when you have something or not. And thanks, Eric. I want to act like I had this totally figured out from the get-go. It's like, add an idea.
I'm trying to
and
put you over, bud.
I know. I just like to beat myself up a little bit and not take
It's all good.
credit for that stuff. But
Of
yeah,
course,
like
of course.
that was a fun thing. I was actually showing these to a friend who's a big deal art director in animation. His name is Jojo, and he's awesome. His real name is Jojo, and I love his name.
It's good.
And I
Like
was-
the Oreos at Trader Joe's.
Does he go on Bizarre Adventures?
He should. No, but I met him through my buddy Jay Oliva, who borrowed my booth this year, my personal booth at Comic-Con. Jay Oliva had it for his company Lex and Otis. They're an animation studio. They have a new show on Netflix that just aired like this week. I forgot what it's called, and I hate myself for not knowing it. But
You're a bad person.
something R-rated involving gods. Jeff, if someone could
Oh,
Google it.
Twilight of the Gods?
Yeah,
No.
Twilight of the Gods. Yeah,
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Twilight of the Gods.
Because there's also that one with Jeff Goldblum, Chaos, which is about the gods as well.
Oh, but that's a live action one, isn't it?
Sure is.
Yeah. So Twilight of the Gods, new animation on Netflix, animation show, super R-rated. My buddy Joe Leva teamed up with Zack Snyder to make it. And JoJo was the art director on that. And JoJo was just hanging out at the booth. And I was like, hey, JoJo. And we're just catching up. And I showed him the thing. I'm like, you want to see what I'm up to? And I showed him this little pitch deck binder I bring with me. The same thing Erik saw. And I always try and keep it updated. And he was like, dude, this is awesome. And then his daughter came up. I didn't know she was there. She's like 12 or 14. She's like, these are great. And then his wife came up. She's like, these are awesome. It was just cool seeing like grown adult male,
Everybody's-
young
yeah.
female, grown adult female. Like they all loved it. And then the wife was like, oh, so the body part swap. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, that's great because then kids can feel like they're making their own when they do the mix and matching. Like then they have ownership. I'm like, you're putting into words I never could have before.
That's kind of like the Glio system
Yeah.
that they have in the sort of indie toy world. Which Rocom taught a lot about that. Do you know Rocom?
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good bud.
He's oh, we're not supposed to say his real name.
Is
We're gonna
it? Are we
bleep
not?
that name out. He doesn't like it when we say his real name.
Dang it.
It's okay. We're gonna bleep it out.
Well, I'm
Okay.
going to say a different fake name. I was on Sean Baby's podcast talking about Monstors, and the first thing he told me, and I was given permission to talk about this, is that he showed his daughter the commercial, and she said, "Dad, we need to get all of these." And that's the thing, is that the Monstors appeals to, big kids, and by big I mean men in their 40s, and even young girls as young as like 7 to 8 years old.
Well, they're cool.
So,
It seems to
They're
be like
just cool.
the all in gold, which is 514, and that's like one of everything.
Yeah. And it
that has-
says the retail value so you know what you're saving.
Yeah, so that's you have it's about $60 off, $50 off. So you're saving 10%. Yeah, but it's also 20 backers on that, which that's like a really good deal. That right there, that's $10,000.
Yeah.
And that's such a brilliant thing. The reason I'm on the actual, because somebody did like bronze times 2, but I wanted to go to the retail specials and see that. So like you have
so
a
I
couple
had to
retail special people.
So to set that up too, I had the first DesignerCon I brought Shamumu to. This is DesignerCon 2021. He wasn't painted. So I had this Shamumu unpainted. I had concept art to show Sting Cobra so people knew there's more than just like this not Street Shark character. And a few people came up, and one guy kept freaking out, and he was from Florida. He's like, dude, I have a shop in Florida, and will you sell this wholesale? Like, do you have retail plans? I'm like, no.
We do now.
I mean, yes. So I try to like make it so they can get the standard sets of the main characters for like, and it depends on how many you buy. Like the more you buy, the bigger the discount. But I wanted to make it so like small mom and pop shops can get like, I forget if it's 8 sets was the smallest one, or 16.
So the
figures
retailer
total.
special number 1. Oh wait, where is it? A retailer special number 2 and number 3. I don't see a
It's-
retailer special number 1.
Yeah.
So for $680, you get 8 of each figure.
Yeah, 16 toys.
So 16 toys for $680 is a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
It's a very good deal.
But you have to show me your reseller credentials, because I don't want a bunch of friends putting their money together to rip me off. I have those friends, and they're horrible friends.
They're bad
That would see that, and they'd be like, hey, let's get 6 of us, 7, 8 of us together and buy this, and we all save money. It's like, no, sir, not today, Satan.
Not on my. Yeah, you have retailer special number 3 has 40 figures total.
Yeah.
Retailer special number 3. Now, one of the things that I think, because the world of like the high-end collectible toy, one of the things that people I think have distanced themselves from is what toys used to cost when we were kids versus what they cost now, for like, not saying low quality, but like when you go into the toy aisle at Target and you see something like Masters of the Universe Origins, right? Mattel. Not exactly low quality, but mass produced in such a way that their price point is kept low, and it's like $22.
And they're backed by
Yeah.
major corporation,
Yeah.
major IPs,
So-
all kinds
And
of
a lot of reuse. Like the
that
main
too,
body is
yeah.
like reuse, and these are completely the only shared thing between Shamu and Sting Cobra is the base.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're variants like Bulltooth and Van Nom Nom. A lot of shared parts, but yeah, they're pretty much unique figures, and the tooling is not cheap. For those who don't know,
Yeah.
it's steel tooling, and that costs money apparently.
Super expensive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So getting on here though, I did notice, like, because you're at about $55. I've been to like designer con and stuff like that, and have seen things of similar sizes that were actually a much higher price point. So like, how did you keep the price? Like, how do you do it so that, I mean, obviously the price for like one toy, $55, if you're a person that hasn't looked at a toy in 15 years, you'd probably clutch your pearls and be like, that's so much. I
I've
know
seen
that's
many of those comments too.
I know that's
Yeah.
a low price.
I'm glad you do.
So
So a lot
like,
of people don't.
how did you keep it at that level? Because I mean, think of it as like a statue too, you know, like it's a display piece, it's art
Yeah,
as
these,
well.
if you take a look at these toys, they are incredibly detailed, right down to not just the muscles, but a lot of the armor, a lot of the just like right down to the just everything. It's everything that you would want in a toy, and both as a grown up and as a kid. The thing that I loved about the old school TMNT line was how detailed and kind of how ugly a lot of them are, like right down to like
Hideous.
the Rat King would have like rats all over him and all
Flattened
this type of
cat
stuff.
on his
A flattened
belt.
cat and all that. Monsters continues that, but with like spot on paint and detail to make those all small details come to life as well. I'm glad that you brought up the price point. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
But-
you need to talk too. I
Fair.
hog the mic.
Yeah.
way too
No,
often.
no,
Real
you're
mic
not
hog.
hogging at all.
I do.
But I'm just a dude that's just a toy fan. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a pro like you are. But the deal is that yeah, a lot of toys you see for like $40, for
Well,
$50, even in the Target aisle that I'm talking about.
Yes,
In the specialty market, and this is all fresh, all new, and
a good example of that is that I have a Sofubi Godzilla by Peter Santamaria, our good friend Attack Peter from Mondo. That's roughly about that size.
It's
maybe
bigger
it's like 8 inches tall or
Yeah.
something like that. I paid like $130 for that,
Yeah.
and like that was perfect.
And its
Like-
arms don't even swivel.
And it doesn't even have joints.
Jeez.
But it's just sort of one of those things of just being like, yeah, like things like this, really cool things they're a little bit pricier, but this is actually a lower price point than what I was expecting.
Yeah.
and here's the thing. The cool thing is that if you want to support this, but you know, stuff is rough. You know, inflation is still a thing, even though it's quote unquote cured and all that. There are tiers on here in which, you know, if you wish to still support the project, buy a sticker pack.
Get a little Buddy
Get a
Keshi
little
variants. Those are
Keshi.
great. The
Yeah,
little muscle.
you know.
They have little sidekicks that are little muscle figures.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you can buy them
as well.
just on their own instead of having to worry about buying the figure
And
to
they're
get a
that
little
muscle pink as well.
Yeah, and
flesh tone. Yeah,
and the
Keshi
thi-
flesh.
Oh, is that
I
it?
don't know what it's
Whose
called.
flesh is that? You're racist.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's right. You heard me. You heard.
it's like
you
a-
racist because they're made out of eraser
Ah,
material.
look at that.
But that's the thing is like, even if for, you know, if you're like, man, this is so cool and I want to see this grow and I want to see this thing, but I just can't do a figure or two right now, please just support in that way. Because if this Kickstarter, you know, goes well, we can make some more stuff. And if we make some more stuff, it gets to a point we can make deals and make it affordable, even more affordable than it currently is in the future, hopefully.
I like that Eric just put it as I could make deals to make it more affordable. Like I'm Donald Trump. Like I'm just gonna make deals.
That's how we describe you.
and
It's
just,
like Donald
bring
Trump.
it. I'm gonna go to the factories. Like I'm here to make.
Well,
a
I mean,
deal.
you're not
I'm
gonna-
kidding. I'm kidding.
Within reason, obviously, but
I'm
but
a
the point.
businessman. I'm gonna make China pay for it.
No, but
gonna make China
but I'm not wrong, am I?
No,
you
I'm
know,
kidding. I'm totally. It's just like it is. The biggest parts are definitely like complexity, which these are complex, so that's always going to be there. But yeah, once you start moving quantities, that's where it really starts coming down. The quantities come in when more people know about this. So even if, like Eric said, if you can't even afford it, not even buy a sticker pack. Even if you can't do that, if you just share it, if you just let people know, like, I can't afford this, but I might know someone who likes this, that goes such a long way.
Yeah.
This is like,
If you host a podcast,
and
have
Yeah.
the creators on. Yeah.
On the opposite end, if you can afford it, if you are a podiatrist in Montana, let's say, but you have no
rich.
more room for new toys, there's a donation tier, baby.
That was cool.
There's
Yeah, I
one of my-
saw that. You have a donation thing. It's actually a discounted price, and you will send them to like needy kids.
Yeah.
And you have like 8 backers on that one.
And there's more, because that just shows the people who backed it. I think there's a couple people that back it, and it shows one backer, but they might have bought like multiple sets of them.
Got it.
Which is cool. And then also people might buy a figure, then they like, oh, I want to do an add-on as a donation set. So you don't see that either.
Yep.
But that was something like, I was selfishly trying to think of like a way to get these out there more to people and make them want to spread the Kickstarter. I was like, I'll guilt them because there's going to be an element in here about needy kids. But then also I'm like, no, I actually want kids to have these that might not be as fortunate as I was. I was telling someone earlier, I'm very fortunate that I didn't come from a broken home.
Your dad's an oral surgeon.
Yeah, my dad's an oral surgeon. I got awesome Christmases. I remember my favorite Christmas was, I have an older sister, but me and my twin brother came down. We each had one huge box. And when we were kids, they were huge. But to me now, they're probably like normal box size. But it was, when we tore them open, I got the T-Rex and he got the Brontosaurus from Dino Riders. And that was like our big Christmas out, like that's burned in my head forever. And
Dude,
I was
that's
fortunate.
like
it was huge. It was crazy.
So Tom Ryman from Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, those are his grails.
Oh yeah,
Those are his 2 grails. He wants them so badly.
So I'm not sure if it was the Brontosaurus or the Brachiot, because there's 2 different long neck ones.
I
It was
will-
the not as big one. That was more T-Rex size.
I will say this: Tom Ryman, backer of Monstors.
oh, wow,
thanks.
look at that.
I am not telling tales out of school.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's something Tom would do.
Yeah.
He's great. I was so happy I got to see him last month in person. It was really great.
He is great. He backed Monsters.
He did.
So there's
He did.
300 and some odd great people out in the world.
The speculator in me, which doesn't exist that much anymore, but like would be like, okay, this is going to be a big thing. The first wave is going to be the one that's the most valuable. So like
Typically is.
there's also
Especially those
that
Kickstarter exclusives.
first wave and last wave. Those are always the most valuable in a toy line.
It is the last waves, the Scareglows and the King Randors of the world.
The Sorcerer Eye,
Yeah.
Yes.
Blade,
I'm thinking Ninja Turtles.
Sol Rod,
I'm thinking the T-Rex Samurai.
Oh, the
Hotspot,
Showate.
Was it?
Choke.
Is it a Cat Scratch?
Scratch,
Team?
just
Scratch.
Just Scratch.
Scratch.
Yeah.
Winged
Hotspot.
Warriors.
Hotspot.
Or how about the Ecto Glow Ghostbusters from the real Ghostbusters
Yep.
set?
Yep.
Sumo Ninja Turtles too.
Damn,
Those are up
goddamn.
there.
Yeah,
We got some. The dinosaur Ninja Turtles. There's
Yeah.
a lot of great, like the later stuff.
You know what? You
Cyber
know,
Samurai.
actually, you know what one
those.
didn't last? Didn't maintain that value? G.I. Joe. Those ones, that later ones, everyone's like, we're good.
Yeah. I love
Not
that
even
stuff.
G.I. Joe Extreme.
G.I. Joe Extreme. That was a really bad reboot. Also because I know but those like yellow and green carded WWF figures from
those
Hasbro.
are those are a crap ton of money. I sadly opened it. Well, not sadly because I enjoyed playing with him. Phrasing.
Perfect.
When I currently have a loose Hasbro 123 kid that even loose is
Does drugs.
yeah, it's $850. Sean Waltman is now clean and
He's
he's
a good
wonderful,
man. Yeah, he is a
wonderful man.
One of the earlier Facebook photos I have is me with Sean Waltman.
No kidding.
I think you should be able to make fun of yourself and let other people make fun of you and not be.
I remember one time Glenn
Oh, yeah.
Jacobs, who used to be known as Kane. Kane's the good version, ironically, of
Yeah,
that man.
oddly enough, yeah.
Yeah,
Oddly enough, less of a monster.
Yeah,
as the fire demon.
the demonic fire beast was actually a much better person than the human. But he did this whole thing about like he posts all these really conservative, like anti-women and stuff like that. And one time he posted a thing and just Sean Waltman did a tweet of a GIF and it was just him shooting a flamethrower into Kane's face from some WWF event and I was just like, that's so good. That's all he had to do.
X-Pac was right.
Yeah.
No, I bumped into Sean Waltman. He probably does not even remember my name or anything like that, and I don't blame him. But I'm just backstage at like wrestling shows, and he's like, "How's the match going?" You know, like just as a person, and he is a sweetheart of a gentleman.
He apologized for the match I saw him in at a high school gymnasium. He's like, sorry, that was so bad. I'm like, man, I paid an extra $20 to take my picture with you. You don't have to apologize for shit. Speaking of which, because we're going to get moving, and I want to promote again, Kickstarter.com/projects/Monstors. At the very least, check it out. Share it if you can. donate if you can. And by say donate, I mean purchase.
Pledge.
Right? Yeah, pledge.
Yeah.
And I will be doing that. I just gotta make sure I can embezzle the right amount.
Thanks,
I'm
bud.
I'm hitting refresh until Jeff May pops up on my dashboard.
I don't have time to put my credit card. Imagine I pulled my credit card out in the middle of this and just, you know what? Fine. Where's my wallet?
Fine.
You know what's great about Kickstarter, which I love more than Google, is when you Google Monstors, it gives you everything for Monsters because it just assumes you're an idiot and you misspelled Monsters. And no one can Google Monsters that easily. It's so frustrating. And in small type, it's like showing you results for Monsters because we assume you're an idiot. Do you want to actually search the thing you were searching for instead? It's like so frustrating. But on Kickstarter, if you just go to Kickstarter and look up Monsters, it bloop, pops up right away.
But hey, you know what? Monsters with the second O, it's good for SEO because it is unmistakable.
Yeah.
I know that because I worked in marketing.
Yeah.
All right.
It just sucks when Google actually is working against you.
So what am I gonna get?
It will work
here?
for us eventually is the point I'm getting.
There are color variants. There's a glow in the dark variant, which I like that. What are the Kickstarter exclusives? by
the
the way?
clear blue Shamumu and then the clear green Sting Cobra. And they're ideas from Chris Garwich because he did clear exclusives for his too because they're easy to make production-wise. It's not as many paint hits and helps us offset our costs a little bit. And then they just look cool. And there's people who collect that one thing. Like some people collect only glow-in-the-dark or they have a lot of toys that have a glow-in-the-dark selection or section of their collection. Collection section.
You can only you can't buy those as a team, huh?
No, you can't buy the variants as teams. I want to make my life a little bit easier, make some money maybe one day. So I only give discounts on the mainstay versions that would move more units. It's business talk now. It's business hour at the top of the hour. Dave Igo, Creative Monsters, talking about amortizing costs.
All right. Okay.
But there is a color, one of my favorite. So I try to make the color variants meaningful, not just like rando. So Bulltooth and Nom Nom, unique characters. Then the first color variants, Shamumu and Sting Cobra, I thought it'd be cool to do a color swap. So it's Shamumu in Sting Cobra colors and Sting Cobra in Shamumu colors.
Now imagine swapping heads and bodies and all that, but still keeping the same color scheme.
Yeah, for those of you weirdos that are like, and I get it, I'm one of those people too sometimes.
I don't like this box I'm clicking where it says I understand that rewards or reimbursements aren't guaranteed by either Kickstarter or their creator.
I'm really excited to actually, once this funds, take the money
Fucking
and run.
take them.
Take the money and run.
Okay.
Listeners, Jeff May, true to his word, is literally getting his credit card out.
I guilt him into it.
You're goddamn right.
Love it.
Thank you, Jeff May. You just backed Monstors, Shamumu, and Sting Cobra action figures. Your $110 pledge brings this project one step closer. So now you have
Which ones did you get? The Kickstarter exclusive ones?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm going to steal the other ones from you.
Nice.
I had to make
You
sure I
will.
could get these exclusives.
Yeah.
But
'Cause
yeah.
after Kickstarter, they will not be available.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that might...
Mostly.
Damn it.
Mostly.
I feel like I could have just played this out and been like, hey, just give me one of these for having you guys on the show. And then instead,
I can give you some toys.
you know what? That's fine. I paid $110. You better give me some toys. You better give me the toys I paid for. That's all I want.
Well, all of you listening at home or in the car, at the gym, or, washing dishes, whatever, could be a backer like Jeff May is just now.
Don't you want to be like me?
Don't you want to be like
listening
Jeff
to
May?
the show in the middle of committing a murder? Just
Yeah.
take a second, take a beat, reconsider your life choices, and just maybe buy some toys
Don't
instead.
kill a person. Back a Kickstarter instead.
Be
You'll
like
get
me.
You'll get the same amount of satisfaction.
I'm not washing dishes. Be like me. You
Yeah.
won't have to wash dishes if you
No.
don't to this
When
Kickstarter.
you let them pile up, eventually,
Look at your dirty dishes and say, f this. I'm getting toys instead.
eventually the cockroaches come and clean them off for you. Just saying.
That ruined my day. That you just said. That made that I'm gonna have a bad rest of the day because you said that. Hey, you know what? Again, guys, Kickstarter.com/projects/monsters, and definitely check out all of the. Dave, you have 9 Instagram accounts, right?
I have 3 or 4.
You have.
I mean, the ones that matter though are at the Monstors.
Them on stores.
At the Monstors or at
At
them
on
on
stores.
stores.
Stores. Yeah.
So you're at Dave Igo
stuff.
David Igo stuff.
Because I didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't know if I was going to do art, food, or pictures of my feet, or all three. So stuff, and that's where my name Igo Stuff, my company name, came from. So at Igo Stuff is like it's the Nintendo, and Monstors is my Mario Brothers, and then at Kaiju Doom is another IP I created, and that is my Zelda or Metroid or something. So got a few things going on.
Great. Eric,
That's
you're
some other fun stuff
you're
cooking too.
at Eric W. Barnes, ERIKWBARNES. New to Instagram is Eric Barnes.
New to
by the way.
Instagram.
You fought longer than most.
I did.
Yeah,
I
and
did.
you pushed it off.
You say fight. I say be lazy. I am still also, sadly, still on X. Same thing at Eric W.
We call that Twitter
What's
in this
X?
household.
Yeah,
It's Twitter.
Twitter.
It's
It's
Twitter.
Twitter.
Let's dead name it.
Yeah.
We don't. Elon Musk. You, Elon
He's a
Musk.
great guy.
Buy my show, Elon Musk, and I will say that you're a good person. I have no integrity.
The guy who's pro freedom of speech, I will make it whatever you want.
I'll kick your ass.
I will
Elon.
lie as much as you want me to.
I will beat your ass, Elon Musk. Come on over. And on top of that as well, too, Eric, you will remind me that Pro Wrestling is back in Los Angeles November 1st, if I recall.
That is correct. We are sharing the stage at the Regent with the rock band Lily with 2 eyes.
Ooh.
And it's going to be an amazing, fun time. I cannot wait to be back. And it's such an awesome venue. Check them out at WP Wrestling, I believe. Or Wrestling PW, excuse me. And just search Pro Wrestling Burbank in Google, and you can find it.
Yeah, wrestling. It is at Wrestling Pro Wrestling on Instagram. So,
even
they got
better.
that. Great, so much fun. Have you seen it, Dave?
I haven't. We've talked about doing it, and
Dude,
every time it's just
You're
like it's
going
always
to come.
It's
I'm gonna
so
come so hard.
fun, dude. It's so good. I remember I took my ex, and she didn't like anything fun. And like the fact that she wanted to go to, I had to pull teeth to get her to come, right? Because there was no white women with acoustic guitars there.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally got her to come there, and she was like, "This is the most amazing thing. It's
go.
the theater of the absurd disguised as wrestling."
You're gonna honestly, a lot of Monstors inspiration will be in the ring.
And also, here's how cool it is. I was hosting a panel for Freddie Prinze Jr. one time, and I was like, I think we've been at the same Pro Wrestling. And then all he wanted to talk about backstage, he was like telling his manager that was there, and like people in Michigan all about this. And I was like, hey, we gotta actually do a panel. Come on out. Come on. Let's go. Let's stop talking
Let's talk about this on the panel.
I think we did bring it up too. But Pro Wrestling, so glad that it's back. Can't
yeah.
wait. So you guys, I'm going to need you to stick around for a couple minutes because the patrons get a little bit of bonus content.
time.
Bonus.
If I didn't, did I get everything? Did I cover all the promotions?
I think so.
I think so.
Well, then if that's the case,
We've been doing a big commercial for like the last 40 minutes.
there was we talked about marble statues.
We got some fun
There was some
stuff.
Borat references in there
This-
too.
it was
No,
a
I'm
fun-
Talk
actually
about career paths and
That's true.
places we could live.
Yeah.
And the
that's
birth of
cheaper.
a friendship that was birthed from another friendship.
It's an exponential. It's an Amsterdam friendship. It's
It
just,
is.
they
It truly
tell two
is an
friends,
Amsterdam.
Then they tell
ampersand.
two friends. If you guys are listening to me for free, I appreciate the shit out of you. I would appreciate just a little bit more of the shit out of you if you head on over to patreon.com/JeffMay for early access to uncensored episodes with bonus content, which I'm going to hook up with these guys and we're going to do later. We're going to have sex.
Later. We're going to take a 2-hour break.
Hook
Then-
up, baby. That's a weird phrase that we took away from the actual meaning, and we're like, it means On top of that as well, please definitely Gamefully Unemployed, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, all the stuff I do with Adam Todd Brown on the You Don't Even Like This network, or You Don't Like Podcasts network. My YouTube at Jeff Has Cool Cards. I open cards like a lot, and then I give them away over on the Patreon if you sign up for that tier. That's fun.
I went into your secret room with all the cards. I was like,
Lot of
there's
cards.
a lot.
I have to. I not only do I have to mail some out, but I have to like literally get rid of a bunch of them. Like I have too many. This was not supposed to happen.
Just throw them out of your high-rise window and watch them
Throw 'em,
rain
watch 'em
down.
fall.
like that scene in the 2004 film The Punisher.
Yeah.
People will be fighting for them.
Give them all to
This-
the little people.
Yeah.
The second best Punisher movie.
And of course, Mint on Card is the second Friday of every month at Blast from the Past in beautiful Magnolia in Burbank, California, except October is going to be October 4th. So if you're listening to this, now, come on out. Hey, say goodbye to the freeloaders, everybody.
Bye, freeloaders. We
Bye.
love you.
Hey everyone, our artwork is created by Justin T. Brown, who can be found at Artness by Justin Brown on Instagram, as well as artnessbyjustinbrown.com. That dope music you heard is by Troy Nababon, available at Troy Nababon on Instagram, as well as at troynababon.com. Nababon is spelled